Today, I want to talk about a hospitality real estate story that I think is more important than it might look at first glance. And that's the opening of Under Canvas Yosemite. On the surface, this seems like a travel or lodging headline. A new glamping resort opens near Yosemite. Nice story. But if you look closer, this is actually a useful case study in outdoor hospitality, distinction-based development, and how brands are trying to win in some of the most valuable travel markets in the country. Here's the basic headline. Under Canvas Yosemite officially opened on April 16th, 2026. It's the brand's first California location. The property includes 71 safari-style tents on 85 acres of forested land, and it sits about 10 minutes from Yosemite National Park's Big Oak Flat entrance. It's also being promoted as California's first DarkSky Approved resort. Rates are starting a little above $300 a night, depending on the source you look at. This is the headline. But the real estate takeaway is much more interesting. When a hospitality brand chooses to enter California for the first time, and it does it near Yosemite, that tells you something. It tells you they believe this location is strong enough, visible enough, and demand-rich enough to justify the move. Yosemite is not just a pretty place. It's one of the most recognized outdoor destinations in the United States. That means the surrounding lodging market is strategically important. And that leads to the first big takeaway. Irreplaceable destinations continue to attract premium lodging concepts. In real estate, there are some locations that are simply hard to replicate. You cannot create another Yosemite. You cannot manufacture the same kind of brand recognition, natural draw, or emotional pull. So hospitality projects near those places often deserve extra attention because they reveal where operators think demand can support differentiated products. The second takeaway is about product type. Under Canvas did not respond to this location by building a typical hotel box. They built an outdoor hospitality experience with safari-style accommodations, private bathrooms, decks, and a strong design-forward identity. That matters because it shows how the hospitality industry keeps broadening the definition of what lodging can look like in the right market. For years, a lot of hospitality thinking was more standardized. Pick a location, choose a flag, build a format people recognize, and compete on convenience, loyalty, and execution. That still works in many markets, but in high-emotion destinations, especially outdoor destinations, there is growing evidence that more experience-led product can be a smarter play. That's especially true when the lodging itself becomes part of the trip, not just where you sleep. That's why I think Under Canvas Yosemite matters. It's an example of a brand matching product to place. Yosemite is a destination defined by nature, scenery, scale, darkness, and escape. So rather than forcing a more conventional hotel concept into that setting, the brand built something that leans into the environment. That brings me to the third takeaway, which is positioning. One of the smartest parts of this project is that it's being marketed as California's first DarkSky Approved resort. That might sound like a small detail, but strategically, I think that's a big one. It gives the property a stronger identity. It creates a memorable talking point, and it fits the location in a way that feels authentic rather than invented. In hospitality real estate, that kind of alignment matters. A good project is not just physically well located. It's conceptually well located too. The story of the asset needs to make sense for the place. Dark skies, stargazing, outdoor immersion, and Yosemite all fit together. That gives this property more than a room inventory story. It gives it a brand story. A brand story matters more than many real estate people like to admit. Not because story replaces fundamentals, but because story can strengthen demand. When a property is easier to remember, easier to describe, and easier to emotionally connect to, that can support visibility, pricing, and market relevance. The fourth takeaway is that outdoor hospitality continues to mature. A few years ago, some people might have looked at glamping as a novelty category. Today, it's much harder to dismiss. You have national brands, more sophisticated design, better positioning, and increasingly strong destination selection. Under Canvas Yosemite fits that maturation story. This is not random camping inventory. It's a branded, premium lodging concept built around specific customer experience and specific location strategy. And when that happens in California, near Yosemite, it becomes even more worth watching. Another important point here is access. Reporting notes that the property is near a Yards transportation stop, which makes Yosemite access easier for guests without depending entirely on parking logistics. That may sound operational, but it matters in hospitality real estate because convenience can be part of the value proposition. The best experiential projects do not just sell beauty, they also reduce friction. So, what does all this mean for people in real estate? For developers, it's a reminder to think harder about product market fit. The question is not always what hotel should go here. Sometimes the better question is what kind of hospitality experience actually belongs here. For investors, it's a reminder that premium demand often clusters around irreplaceable destinations. When a location has lasting appeal, the right kind of differentiated lodging may have a stronger chance to stand out. For brokers and advisors, it's a reminder that hospitality assets should not only be evaluated by keys, rates, and comps. The concept, the positioning, and the match between property and place can matter a lot. And for anyone watching broader hotel and lodging trends, Under Canvas Yosemite is a good example of how the lines between hotel, resort, camp, and experience-led lodging continue to blur. That's why I think this opening matters. It's not just a new place to stay near Yosemite. It's a visible example of where outdoor hospitality is going, how brands are using iconic destinations to support premium concepts, and why experience-driven real estate is becoming harder to ignore. If you work in hotel development, hospitality investment, destination markets, or experiential real estate, this is the kind of story worth paying attention to, because what gets built near the most irreplaceable locations often tells you where the industry thinks demand is strongest. And right now, that clearly still includes premium outdoor hospitality.